everyone, it's Renee with delaneyjanecards. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a collaboration with Amanda from Rise and Procraftinate and Courtney Kreeber. We are pulling out some older products and doing some older techniques. These are some non-smear pastels that I have had forever. They are by the Stencil sisters. They are so old. Look at, I had to clean them up to use them. They have moved with me a couple times and I just can't seem to get rid of them. And this is an Impressabilities, it's like an embossing thing, but it's also like a stencil thing, and you can also cut it apart and use it on things. They don't make them anymore. I could see how using them on something would be kind of pricey if you cut it up, but it's like a thin metal. So I used it here to kind of sporadically stencil a background. I was just holding this down. I didn't want to spray it down or hold it down or anything. I wanted it to be really loose, even though it's a super graphic design. I wanted it to be kind of loose. You can't really see it too much there, but it's totally awesome. And then here I used this HoneyBee Stamps Scene Builder Cloud Stencil. There are 4 stencils in that set. This is the cloud stencil for them. And I made a cloudy background. Now, this is exactly how I would do a cloud background with ink, but this looks so different. Something I will definitely remember and pull out again, because I really did like just how very different the sky looks versus one done with ink. And then here is a stencil from Pink and Main. I get the Crafty Courtyard kit, and a lot of times there's exclusive stencils or exclusive stamp sets in there. This was one of those stencils. I'm sure there's something out on the market that's very similar if you decide you want to try it. Here is a Gina Marie stencil. It's like bubbles or circles. I think it's called bubbles. And then I just picked various blues and filled that one in. This is Chic style by Gina Marie Designs. It kind of looks like leaves. So I decided on browns and greens. Color combinations that I don't normally use when I stencil, I guess. But I just absolutely love how this turned out. It's so soft. In the end, I really love the card that I made with this one. I just feel like it turned out perfect. As perfect as a handmade card can be. But here I just kind of, picked one side of this leaf pattern and did green and the other side brown, and just look how soft and pretty that is. Now this one is a really beautiful girly stencil. It's like flower, what is it called? Flower Petal Collage, and it's really pretty. It kind of looks like stone work to me, like a path, and then you have the inlaid flowers. So that's kind of how I did it. I don't know anywhere that there are pink and blue paths, but well, here there is. And then I just reinforced each of those flowers with some darker colors, some oranges and some browns, just to make them pop a little bit more, because pink and orange kind of pop really nicely together. Then here I ran a piece through a Spellbinders embossing folder, and it's the wedding ring embossing folder. And then I used this alligator clip and a puffball, but this was terrible. It was like rubbing my fingernails down a chalkboard, and I actually just got the shivers doing the voiceover, and there's no sound, just because I remember how just terrible it was. So then I had tried a larger stencil brush and then went back to the smaller stencil brush. Now these are non-smear, but there's a little bit of play. So I was able to kind of work them in just a little bit with my finger. And I just started at the one corner and I kind of faded it off to nothing. I would say that was a design idea, but it wasn't. It wasn't putting down as much color as I wanted. So I figured I would just work with it the way it was. So this is the card that we're going to put together, and this is a Rabbit Hole Designs Love You More stamp set. And I really love how dainty and fine-lined this image is. A lot of their images are like this. So here I started out with my traditional skin tone, which is BB00, E00, E02, and E11. I use that E02 for their cheeks a lot of times. It just adds a little bit of brightness and a little bit of pink, without me adding actual pink. Then I blended it all out with the E00. And then you can see here I'm reinforcing the shading underneath the hair and on the edge of the face just a little bit more. And even though he's wearing glasses, I am coloring his face just like they're not even there, because at this point they don't matter. So for the blonde tones for their hair, I used Y21 and Y23 and then YR23. And I have heard that the Y23 and Y21 are really close together and you don't need both. And you know what? You probably don't. But to me, there is enough of a difference in the shade that I like to use the combination for blonde hair. And then some B tones, they're 93 and 95, I believe, for the boy's pants. And then for her dress, I wanted it magenta, and I used VO6, RV17, and RV14. And you'll see here that it does blend nicely together. I just got kind of particular when I was doing this balloon, and reds and pinks are notorious for bleeding, so I should have been just much more careful, but I wasn't. And at this point, I just wanted it to blend nice, but I still wanted really nice contrast. So I had to decide if I was more worried about the bleed outside the lines, which I could fix, or the blend inside the heart. And I chose to concentrate on the blend and to fix the bleeding later. So for his shirt and her balloon, I chose a green combination. It's YG21, YG25, and YG17, my favorite Copic marker. Not my favorite color. And I just used that YG17 to reinforce the darker areas. And here's where I fix all that bleeding that was by the heart. I just used my Jelly Roll number 10 gel pen to go around the edges of the heart, and it cleaned it up really nicely. If I was cutting this directly on the line when I do go to cut it out, it wouldn't have even mattered. But because this is such a fine line image, I knew that this one probably was going to have a white border around it. And in the end, I decided to, based on, well, how finely the image was drawn, and that I wanted this image to stand out more than the background pieces. So here's where I'm stamping the rest of the background, and it's a house and some clouds. I just used my Misty and I just moved the clouds when I needed to restamp them. All in the same ink on 3 blackout ink, which is my current favorite Copic coloring or watercoloring, anything coloring ink. And here is a little bit of shading on these clouds, because although they're white, I wanted to add just a little bit. They're going in a background that's really bright and colorful, and white is going to be good for the eye, so it has a place to rest. But I thought that it needed to have just a little bit of shading. For the house, I brought in the blonde tones again, and I used the Y21 and the YR23, and I just added the shadows in. It's just super simple coloring, nothing special. Blended that out just a little bit. Just needed to add just a little bit of color down in the corner, and it'll be the third spot of yellow on the card, which will help your eye also move around. And then I brought in some neutral tones, the E33 and E35 for the roof of the house, some Y08 for the windows, and I brought that E35 back out for the door. And then I fussy cut everything. Now the smaller background images I did cut directly on the line. All of the clouds and the house, I fussy cut just like this, so there is no white border. And these were pretty easy to trim out. You can see here it didn't take that much, and it's sped up a little, but it didn't take that much time. And then here I left a white border around these two that are flying, and it is a really dainty image, so I would have had a hard time around those balloon strings too, but I also wanted this image to stand out really nicely against this background, and that little bit of white border around them does kind of help highlight the image itself. That, and they're really bright, pretty colors. To ground the scene, I needed to put a sentiment strip down at the bottom, or some kind of something to ground them. And I decided on this black strip with this sentiment, and you will see that it is cut crooked and put on crooked, and I do fix that later off screen. I just restamp and re-emboss, and then I die cut a new strip and just laid it over, making sure that everything was straight. I didn't show that in the video. I figured I would leave the mistake in, and I would just let you know that there was a mistake there. So here I was putting all the clouds and everything on to set up my scene, and I have the one little cloud down by the house, and then 3 around the boy and the girl that are flying through the sky, completely in love. And I finished the inside. My New Year's resolution this year was to finish the insides of my cards with just a little something. And I stamped this with some Ranger Literate Shadow Gray ink. It's just a house, a couple of hearts, and a few little clouds. Something that is very easily written over with a pen or pencil. It's not dark at all. And then I adhered my image panel to a piece of black cardstock and then laid that down on my card base. And I added some finishing details. Spectrum Noir Clear Glitter Overlay pen on the balloons and the clouds just to give them a little more sparkle and shine. And then I brought my glossy accents out and I put that on his glasses. And this is why it didn't matter to me. I didn't actually colored like they weren't there because I knew I was going to put that over, and that's where I was going to get the dimension and the shine for the glasses. So these are all of the cards that I made. This is Sugar Pea Designs for Pug's Sake, and it actually came from my friend Beth, and I finished the Clouds one. And this is Stamping Bella's Big Love Die. Oh, that's Trinity Stamps Big Love Die and Stamping Bella's Girl something. And then Art Impressions Doghouse Cubbies. That actually came from Sandy Almach in a prize pack. I was so excited. This is a birthday card with Tim Holtz tags and Tonic Studios. Kit 24 Happy Birthday set that came from my friend Lisa. This Otter set also came from her. And that's how I finished the embossed one. And then this bunny set here, this is from Brutus Monroe, and it's just so pretty. And then back to the card that we made, which was by Rabbit Hole Designs, Love You More, and there's so many cute images. So these are all 7 cards that I made today using those non-smear pastels and some different techniques for the backgrounds. I would love to know which one you think is your favorite. Are you drawn to a particular color combination or stamp set, or do you not like them at all? I would love to know. Do you have some of these non-smear pastels hiding in your craft room? Because somebody somewhere has to have some of them. They didn't just all disappear. And I appreciate you stopping by. Please check out the other 2 ladies. Their links will be in the description below. And I would love it if you would like and subscribe and comment. The comments are my absolute favorite. And as I always say here at Delaney Jane Cards, give cards generously. Bye!